So what is up, everybody? It is Rodak with Rodak Survival, and we are here for the Indianapolis Supercross race preview. Now guys, if you haven't seen these before, pretty much how I break them down is I basically do the top 3 in the 250 class, and then I do the top 5 in the 450 class. And then if there's any news to break down, or if there's any kind of going out on a limb predictions that I have, I'll throw those in there as well. And before we jump into these predictions, preview, whatever you want to call it, if you can like this video, I would really appreciate it. And if you do like the content on the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I would wholeheartedly appreciate that as well. Let's go ahead and jump into the 250 class. So for your top 3 tonight, I have Jett Lawrence winning the race, Cameron Mcadoo in second, and Pierce Brown in third. Now the reason I went with these picks is because that's pretty much how these guys have been running this season. That's kind of where they've consistently been. I do think Cameron can beat Jett in a race, but I do think Cameron needs to get better starts. Jett, on the other hand, is just faster than everybody else. If he gets a start, or at least that top 3 start, he's really just in the lead by the first lap, and he's pretty much going to check out. So if you're not right on him, it's pretty much over with Jett at that point. The only thing we really don't know about Jett is sometimes he has a little bit of that James Stewart in him, and he's just riding over his head. So if he does get a bad start tonight, I could see Jett either doing a 50-50 flip a coin where he just looks amazing, flies through the pack and just passes everybody and makes everybody look like they're standing still, or he just completely eats it like he did in Arlington, trying to just make up too much time instead of just settling for a 3rd or 2nd place. So like I said, that's the reason for my top 3. Those seem to be consistently where those guys have been. Pierce looked pretty fast last week. So did Mcadoo, but I just don't see anybody topping Jett at this moment. And for my going out on a limb pick, I do think Kyle Chisholm gets in a top 5 tonight on that Monster Energy Yamaha. He looked great last week, ended up stalling it. He's had another week on the bike, so let's see if he can get that top 5 tonight. Now let's go ahead and hop into this 450 selection. And guys, this is what I use for my rmfantasysx.com at the Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is what I use for my fantasy picks. So for 5th place, I have Chase Sexton. I don't know how he's going to really do tonight. He was 4th in qualifying, but there's been plenty of times that I have seen Chase be the fastest qualifier or win the heat race or whatever the case may be and just come into the main and get like a 7th or 8th. So who knows how that back is feeling. It looked pretty rough last week, but I have him coming in 5th tonight. And for 4th place, I have Justin Barcia. He was on the podium last week. I do think he got a little bit lucky. He was riding tough. We gotta all give him that. He had those stitches in his hands, but he did get lucky with Anderson going down and with Sexton and Cooper going down. So I do think Justin's going to come through in 4th tonight. I don't know how these injuries are going to affect these guys, so I have Justin up there in 4th. And in 3rd place, I have Jason Anderson. I don't know if that head hit he took is going to have any effect on him or whatever the case may be. Who knows? It could just be a mental thing where he had to get off and now it's just kind of in his head. I don't know, but I do have him coming in 3rd tonight. He's still looking fast. Still looking strong like Jason Anderson, but my top 2, I had to go with them just because they seem to get out of last weekend unscathed. So for 2nd place, I do have Malcolm Stewart. This is also a little bit of wishful thinking because both times that Malcolm has gotten 2nd, Jason has crashed out in front of him. If you can remember back to the first Triple Crown race, Jason crashed in that 2nd main event. That put Malcolm ahead of him. And then obviously last week, that put Malcolm in 2nd. So I'm kind of wishful thinking and hoping that Malcolm will come through and just beat Jason straight up tonight. And in 1st place, who else would you have guessed? It's Eli Tomac. This is the best that I've ever seen Tomac ride. Granted, he's went on winning streaks before, but he just looks so comfortable, so smooth, so happy, so relaxed. And I just think it's going to be super hard to beat him. If you looked at the track today, it looks like it's going to get rough and beat up, and that's just what Eli lives for. Eli is a bulldog when it comes to just powering through those races. So as an Eli Tomac fan, I can religiously say I just haven't ever seen him ride this good. So I do think he can make it 4 in a row tonight. Who really knows? It is Monster Energy Supercross. I do think the pressure is off of him a little bit to win these races. He now has a 42-point lead on Malcolm and Jason Anderson since they are tied in points, and that's just a huge deficit to make up with what I believe, we have 6 rounds left to go. So yeah, I just think Eli's ultimate comfort right now. I think he could just ride this thing home, but I do have him winning tonight. So that is my 450 class. One more time, we have Chase Sexton 5th place, Justin Barcia 4th place, Jason Anderson in 3rd place, Malcolm Stewart in 2nd, and Eli Tomac coming away with his 4th win in a row. Now, do you guys agree with these picks? Do you disagree? Leave them down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys. And like I said, one more time, if you can like the video, I would really appreciate it. And if you do like the content on the channel, please consider subscribing, and I will see you guys in the race recap. Peace.